Scoop Believers. Today we're doing something a little bit different than what we're actually used to doing. We're going to be putting together a brainstorm. So this is something I actually picked up from Pat Flynn from his book, Will It Fly? Look in the notes below if you'd like to take a look at the book and possibly buy it. So what we use is Post-it notes. So what we do is actually, I had probably not a dream. I was kind of half awake, half asleep, but I came up with a great idea for an analogy for coming up with an idea how to put together and start a business. So I call it the puzzle method. So what we're going to do here is I had an idea this morning that came about a kind of an idea of how to start a business in kind of a interesting kind of analogy called a puzzle. So the puzzle is kind of like what you want to start with and how things are put together. So to put this puzzle idea together in some sort of form, what I'm going to do is for a couple minutes, I'm just going to write ideas, just put them right out there and see what happens. So when we think of a puzzle, we're going to put puzzle right here. When we think of puzzle, there's pieces. There's pieces of puzzles, there's color. There's color, all kinds of color. There's usually 4 sides. To a puzzle, as long as it's not too complex. There's 4 sides to a puzzle. What else? There's edge pieces. Right? There's edge pieces and puzzles. There's different types of color. What are the primary colors? There's red. So we got red colors with blue. Okay, yellow. I think those are the primary colors. What else about there's a picture on the front, right? When you're doing a puzzle, there's a picture on the front. There's different sizes of pieces. There's always a piece that you lose. Right, there's always that one piece at the very end that you lose. What else? What else? What else about puzzles? They're a challenge. A lot of pieces of puzzles are challenges. There's different amounts of pieces. So like, you have a 500 piece, 1,000 piece, 10,000 piece. I'm probably a 25 piece kind of guy because I don't know, I'm not very good at puzzles. What else? What else can we say about puzzles? They take time to do. Sometimes they take a little time to do. Sometimes we take a break. We don't sit down and do the puzzle all in one piece, especially if it's a really big one, right? So, what else? What else can we say about puzzles? Puzzles. I think that's good enough to get started. Okay, so we have all these pieces put together of different ideas for puzzles. So what I want to do is rearrange these in a way that relate to entrepreneurship and starting a business. So where's color? Color is here, and we have different types of colors. So there's red, there's yellow, there's blue, right? The picture, right? Because the picture has colors. We got a puzzle, right? Because that's what we're doing is putting things between a puzzle. The puzzle has different amounts of pieces. We lose pieces of the puzzle. The puzzle has 4 sides. The puzzle is challenging. Edge pieces. Okay, so we can go like, here's pieces, we lose pieces. Right? The puzzle's challenging. Not sure where break goes. and time. All right, so we have a section here of color, different types of colors. The picture has colors in it, red, blue, yellow, that kind of thing. Let's see. Size of the pieces. Let's put pieces over here. Okay, so we have a section here about puzzle pieces and kind of about the puzzle itself, and just some oddball ones over here like time, edge pieces, piece size of the pieces. I think time and break can go together there. Okay, so when I think about entrepreneurship and a puzzle and how that kind of goes together, what I think about is the picture. Where we really start with a picture. Where was that? Here it is. Okay, so we start with a picture. The picture is actually our end product, what we want to end up with at the very end. We always got to look at that picture first when we open up a puzzle. We want to know what we're actually going to put together. So we look at that picture first so we see what the end product is supposed to look like, right? We want to look ahead so we know what we're doing. So we dump out the box and we have pieces all over the place. You know, they're scattered all over the place. So what's the first thing you do when you put a puzzle together? What do? You grab up those edge pieces, right? The edge pieces are the most important pieces because that's what's going to frame your puzzle. So at the same time, where is the edge pieces here? Edge pieces. All right, so we're going to put edge pieces there because that's our next step. So when I think about edge pieces and I think about entrepreneurship, I think about the different types of things I need to get started. For example, like when I started my podcast, a couple of edge pieces could have been like the equipment. An edge piece could be like, for example, money. Money's always an edge piece, right? Because we always have to figure that part out too. So we can do that for an edge piece. Gathering guests is an edge piece because I wanted to do a guest type of entrepreneurship or a podcast. So we want to kind of think about that as well. So what else? Here's the 4 sides. That's what we're talking about now. Each edge piece has 4 sides. Let's see. Now, what else do we do when we put puzzles together? So let's say we've taken those edge pieces, we found all the edge pieces, and we've put together those first beginnings. Now, the funny thing is about these edge pieces is that's actually where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck, is those edge pieces, those first couple of things to get together. If you can't put those puzzle pieces together to get those edge pieces put together, you're not going to be able to start your entrepreneur adventure. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs kind of lose track. So we need to put those edge pieces together, and it's up to you to figure out how you put those edge pieces together, right? Okay, so let's say we put the edge pieces together, and now what we do is we gather up the different types of colors that we have, right? Because we want to see what pieces go together properly. So we got blue, we got red, we got yellow. I think I had a picture on there twice. That's okay, and the different colors. Okay, so let's relate this a little bit to my podcast. So the colors would be, how do I get, after I gathered guests and kind of built a rapport with them and invited them on my show, what do I do after that? So like, oh, I know, I have a good idea. So let's relate these to like how hard this particular part is. So let's use blue as easy. Let's do yellow as not so easy, but kind of okay. And then we'll use red as what's really hard to put together to get to that edge piece. So we want to take those pieces and build up from the edge to the center, right? So the blue pieces, let's just say that's actually right after the edge pieces, right? So the blue pieces are the easy things. So like, let's talk about what I was talking about just a second ago, is gathering guests. Gathering guests for me were really easy because I know where a lot of my entrepreneur people are. The Facebook groups, the Twitter groups, and things like that. A lot of people were willing to talk about their brand new business. So building those edge pieces up from the guest out to gather guests was actually a blue section for me. So let's go to the next section, which is the yellow section, things that aren't so easy. Qualifying the guests were a little bit harder for me than anything else, because I wanted to make sure they're good quality guests. So I do go through a process of asking them pre-questions before I actually have them on my show. So I'm going to call that the yellow for, I'm going to call that yellow for my guest edge, and then the red part. Red, I'm going to say, was the actual interview itself, because you kind of get into that nervous area where you're not sure exactly what's going to happen or how it's going to go. So you build from the edge. Here, let's put this down here. Let's go like this. We go from the edge pieces to blue, to yellow, to red, right? So we build from the edge out in this order, just because that's what sounds good. Okay. Okay, so we go to there. We have colors. Colors are here now. Okay. What else we're gonna do here? Okay. So we're gonna put challenges here between yellow and red. We're talking about a puzzle. The amount of pieces. Okay, so we didn't really talk about that, so I'm gonna touch on that real quick. Depending on how complex you think you are, depending on how complex you think things are for your entrepreneurial adventure, is the amount of pieces that you have. Now, if I was putting a software, kind of thing together with a SaaS, SaaS, software as a service, I would probably count that as like a 10,000 piece. But that's me, because I know nothing about software. Now for my episode 2, if you want to listen to episode 2, that would be Phil Hughes, and Phil Hughes is a software developer. So that's more of his kind of forte. So his pieces would be a lot less. That would probably be closer to like a 1,000, maybe 1,500 piece puzzle for him. So really depending on what you're doing and how easy it's going to be for you, because of what you've done and the experiences that you've had, will be how many pieces your puzzle is going to be. So we're going to put that here, the amount of pieces of the puzzle. All right, now what happens sometimes? Sometimes we need to take a break from the puzzle. We can't sit there and complete a puzzle all in one shot. You know, we have things that happen in our lives that take times. We have to stop and take a breath, take care of the kids, got to go to work, whatever it takes. Sometimes we have to stop and take a break from the puzzle. Don't be afraid to take a break from the puzzle, okay? Because you need that time to reset your mind, kind of take a break from other things, and then come back to it. Because sometimes when you come back to it, you have a fresh mind, new ideas happen while you're going for your walk or going to the gym or doing whatever you're doing, and you can sit down again and have a fresh mind, and then you start, I don't know if you've ever done that or not. I have. When I sat down to do a puzzle and I lost and I get a little frustrated with it, I walk away from, come back, and then suddenly I found the one piece that I could start putting things back together again. So don't forget every once in a while to take a break. Size of the pieces, we're gonna put that right there. All right. The lost piece. We all have the lost piece. It happens to everybody. I don't care who you are, what you're doing, where you're at, the lost piece is always the piece that drives you crazy the most. Don't get frustrated with the lost piece, because the lost piece will be found. And a lot of times that lost piece is actually you. You are the lost piece. If you can incorporate yourself into the puzzle, then the lost piece will be found. In one way, shape, or form, the lost piece will always be found, and always be found with you somewhere in it. I like to picture the lost piece as the very center, the last piece of the puzzle. That one you're always kind of like, where'd it go? It's under the table. And then you hit your head on the table when you're trying to pick it up and you stub your toe. That last piece is always the hardest one, but that's the last piece, and it will finish the puzzle. Okay, and then time. Time I'm kind of putting down here by itself, mainly because time is one of the hardest things, but once again, one of the easiest things that we have to deal with. As long as we could schedule the time, we could finish the puzzle. So don't be afraid to kind of take a break, take that time to later finish the puzzle, put some time aside to work on the puzzle, and you'll be successful in whatever you do. So there's a reason why I kind of put this in a square here, because I was trying to make it look like a little bit of a puzzle. But anyway, so just think about it for a second. You take the puzzle pieces, look at the picture, see what the end product is supposed to be, build those frame pieces, those edge pieces, gather your picture, gather your different colors that you have to put it together, and start putting those pieces together. Go from blue to yellow to red, depending on how you want to do it. Some people will work a little bit different. They go red from yellow to blue. That's fine. As long as you have some kind of form going on there. Take a break every once in a while, and make sure that you do take a break every once in a while. That way you keep a fresh mind and take the time to do it. And then ultimately at the end, your puzzle will be the pieces together that make that first picture that you saw, which will be your product. And what do you do after that? You sell the puzzle. That's right. Your product, your end product, finally will come about. Think about that as you go along with your entrepreneur adventure. Get those puzzle pieces put together, and you will come out with your final picture. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. My first solo anything, really. So thank you for watching all the way through. If you feel that you've learned something today, please like and subscribe. And I do have show notes in the bottom for anybody that wants to take a look at that book I was talking about earlier called Will It Fly from Pat Flynn. And please leave a comment. If you leave a comment, please put a little happy emoji or whatever your favorite emoji is. I will try to star 5 people that put their comments in there, and we'll get them get their names going on there on the next show, hopefully, if anybody decides to put the notes down. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.